stuff, taboo subjects. So welcome to A&J
today.
Oh yeah, today we're talking about girl stuff, taboo subjects. Women have feminine hygiene needs that are different than what an elder would have to face, obviously. And those are things that we don't often talk about. How do you handle these things in the mission field? I mean, you'll hear sisters are like, so how did you do this? And we're all ashamed to talk about it. The truth is, it's part of our bodies, it's part of what makes us beautiful women, it's part of what makes us very godlike, right? And it's part of our lives, and so today we don't talk about that.
Yep.
I mean, what was the attitude toward using tampons in the Philippines?
They weren't accessible, first of all, and a lot of people thought it was not okay unless you were married and sexually active.
Same.
And
you would start a lot of, so honestly, I think that was the same in Brazil. It was something that they were like, we're not quite, it's not something we're comfortable with. And my companions, when they found out that I used tampons, they were horrified.
They did have them available in like the big metropolitan cities,
right?
But they were crazy expensive. Most of the places where sisters served, they had really thin pads, but that's all that was available.
It was the same thing in my mission too in Brazil, and I've actually talked to people who live in Brazil now, and they just handle things differently. Like when a woman was menstruating, she would stay home typically and not really do much. I was really surprised even to see grown women, like the bishop's wife, for example, in some of my areas. If it was her monthly time, she wasn't at church. She was home resting, relaxing, kind of. They just didn't go out. They didn't do much. They just kind of stayed home. And we don't really, culturally, we treat it a little bit differently. We're always on the go no matter what. And we're like, nothing's going to stop us.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of what you're up to. But Ashley has some really great tips about how to pack and how to take enough. And if your parents can send you some while you're on your mission, feminine products are something that usually do make it on their mission. That was kind of a trick at our mission. All our packages, they would always write productos femeninos on everything. And then the post office wouldn't even open it. They would just send it on.
That and Bibles and dress socks. That's what my brother always put on the outside of the stuff that was sent to me. That's funny. Don't write on the outside that you're sending a camera and memory cards, by the way.
Yeah, it won't get to you.
So feminine hygiene products, it's obviously just like personal preference. I know the menstrual cups are really popular right now, and a lot of girls really like them. I do not love them. And so I feel like I needed a combination of different products for me to feel comfortable. And honestly, I didn't want to learn something new. I just wanted to use what I was already comfortable with and not have that be a stress on top of everything else that is a stress on the mission. So anyway, again, use Ziploc bags on all of this. I would highly suggest, if you're about ready to go serve, track the next 2 cycles that you have and track how much you use of each thing. Because it's kind of hard to think okay, how many do I need to purchase before I go? For me, I didn't know how reliable the mail system was going to be, and I got a lot of mixed answers from people. And a lot of people I knew that served in my mission were elders, and I mean, they don't know.
Yeah, I mean, nothing.
For a good reason, But I tracked my cycle, and it gave me a good idea to know okay, I need this many of this and this many of this and whatever. And I literally packed everything that I used and just multiplied it by 18, and I put it all in Ziploc bags, and the top section of my suitcase with the zipper had my garments and all of my feminine hygiene products in it. And a lot of people that I've talked to since felt like, oh my gosh, that's going to take up so much space. But in reality, it really doesn't.
It really doesn't.
And as you go along your mission and you're using these products, then you end up with more space at the end to bring back some souvenirs or
and a lot of times, if this comes in a box, and when you take it out of the box, you'd be surprised how much it compresses.
Yeah.
So that you have room. I mean, you could even compress more air out of this.
There's still more room, but this is 2 of the large boxes that were in this one, which a lot of people can get by with 3 or even 4 cycles.
Well, and sometimes people, I have known many sisters that the stress of missions affects their cycle a little bit, and they might skip a couple of months. That is not uncommon, so don't panic if that happens. Just make sure you're talking with your sister coordinator or your mission mom, so that or the mission nurse, if there's a mission nurse, to kind of let them know what's going on, just so, because it can be an indicator of a bigger issue. But
Yeah.
if it's not, then I mean, it might just be normal. That's not abnormal.
Yeah. A lot of
So-
times just because we aren't as used to being that active either. So don't hesitate to pack them. It's not something that's like, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. If you're used to using tampons and you're like, I don't want to have to worry about pads on the mission or whatever. And also, if you're embarrassed about talking about this, just know that like, you talk about everything with your companion. Feel free to be open if you're comfortable with that, and if not, you'll probably become more comfortable with that as time goes on. But it's just a reality of what you need to pack when you get out there. So don't be embarrassed about it. It's totally doable. And I would suggest if you decide that you want to use a menstrual cup, use it before you go.
We hope you had some good tips and information today. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thanks. That's it for us today.
Bye.
See you next time.